Welcome. This election season was exciting because it had some implications or the other for three key parties. The BJP, of course, which was fighting to retain its crown in Gujarat, wanted to break the rivaj of rotating governments in Himachal and wanted to secure its hold over the MCD. If you look at it that way, the BJP has won 1 out of 3. The Aam Aadmi Party gets to walk away saying at least they made a dent and a beginning in Gujarat and they won the MCD elections. The Congress gets to say that they managed to win in Himachal. So while everyone can walk away happy, what are the national implications of election day? First, a quick look at what the results are. The BJP returns for the 7th term in Gujarat with a historic mandate. Over 156 seats in Gujarat. They've beaten even the earlier Madhav Singh Solanki record, and that's the highest number of seats ever in Gujarat. It's now pretty much a single party state politically. The Aam Aadmi Party, which had a lot of hype about its Gujarat entry, gets about 11-12% of the vote share but ends up with 5 seats. Obviously, it seems like it's at the cost of the Congress, which has gone from 70 to 17 over the last 5 years. Let's take a quick look at what happened in Himachal. In Himachal, face saver for the Congress party because they have got about 40 seats, so a clear mandate over there. The BJP falling short, but the vote shares in Himachal show you a very, very small difference between the Congress and the BJP. They've got 42.99, so 43% in 2022, and that's pretty much what the Congress has got as well. So their attempts to break the pattern there have not really made the cut, but at least their vote shares have stayed steady. So what does all of this mean? What are the implications? Well, for the BJP, it reiterates their dominance in PM Modi's home state of Gujarat. It's clear that the strategy of changing unpopular CMs or ministers has worked in the state of Gujarat. It also shows that their policy of not giving tickets to those who they think are not performance has worked. The dependence on Modi magic, though, continues. Once again, that's been underlined. In Himachal, on the other hand, a close vote share is a face saver for the BJP. Let's break down what this means for the Aam Aadmi Party. Aam Aadmi Party meets the criteria technically to become a national party because they have to have more than 6% vote share in at least 4 states. With Gujarat, they've hit that mark. It's a significant improvement in the Gujarat vote share for the Aam Aadmi Party. Compared to last time, they've gone from 0 to almost 11-12%. But their limitations in fighting multiple battles have been exposed. They pretty much abandoned the Himachal fight halfway because they had to focus on Gujarat. What's important, though, is Arvind Kejriwal's narrative to show that he is the only leader who can take on Prime Minister Modi will take a hit. For the Congress, it's a boost for new party president Mallikarjun Kharge because this is the first big win in a while and right after he's become president. The poor showing in Gujarat, though, is a big warning sign. It was always a 2-horse race. What happened there? And the impact of the Bharat Jodo Yatra will be questioned, which seems to have made no difference to them. Himachal's revolving door tradition, in a sense, blunts the impact of the win because people will say, analysts will say, well, that's what happens in Himachal Pradesh every 5 years. In any case, they alternate between the BJP and the Congress. But looking forward, what are the implications for 2024? Neerja Chowdhury, political commentator, joins me today on the show. I'm speaking with Tejas Mehta, Sanjeev, Srivastava and Amitabh Tewari, all political commentators. Welcome to all of you and thank you so much for speaking with us. Neerja ji, let me begin with your take on the big election day. Can't really say it's all unexpected lines. The big winners, of course, the BJP. We know they were going to win Gujarat, but with 150 plus seats, 156 seats.
Yeah, look, yes, that's a very impressive historic win. And more so because after 27 years of being in power, that is no small number of years. And, it would have been different had they won a larger number of seats in a triangular fight, which is possible with the Aam Aadmi Party cutting into the Congress's vote share. But they have won by increasing their vote share by 4%. I think that is the real story of the win in Gujarat. So even if you combine the vote share of the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress and others, they are still below the BJP's figure. So it is Narendra Modi becoming that much more invincible as a leader in preparation for the 2024 elections. I think that is one part of the story. The second part of the story, as you yourself very rightly said, it's very rarely that an election makes every player happy. And this election has made all the three, BJP, Congress,
Everyone,
and Aam Aadmi Party.
I compare it to a contest where everyone gets a prize.
That's right.
Everyone gets a prize.
That's right. But Aam Aadmi Party, of course, has won MCD, which is also an achievement. But they have made an entry, I find it an impressive entry with 12-13% of the vote for a newbie party, only 9 years old. And I think it is being seen in Gujarat as a springboard for the future, because people recalled that in 2013, the Aam Aadmi Party had got 28 seats in Delhi, but in 2015, they got 67 seats and came to power in Delhi. And in Punjab, in 2017, they got 20 seats there in Punjab, but 2020, this year, they swept Punjab. So this was the thing coming from the BJP as a sign of worry. Not that we are not going to come to power this time, it's for the future that we have to be alert about. And that is the Aam Aadmi Party. I think you're absolutely right, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, and people in Gujarat talked about Arvind Kejriwal, not so much AAP. So his name is recognized in the villages of Gujarat also, but he's positioning himself as a leader who can take on the BJP led by Mr. Narendra Modi at a future date, not immediately, but it'll be very interesting to see how he moves next year in the 9 elections that are going to be held in different states. And for Congress, of course, Congress really has to see, it's a I would say a consolation prize in Himachal Pradesh, but
is it 40 seats is a consolation prize? Is 40 seats a consolation prize?
No, I'm saying Himachal, yes, it is. You're going to form government in another state, so it is a morale booster. But to lose Gujarat so badly, and to it's the demoralization in the Congress ranks in Gujarat. They'd given up even before the fight had started. And that is something to worry about, not having the will. And last time in 17, they came close to it, 77. I think that is what the Congress will have to think about.
Okay, Sanjeev, Srivastava, since we are, at this point in the evening, there's been a whole day of analysis. Everyone knows what the numbers are. It makes sense to see what this means from a national perspective. We are close to 2 years away from the next big general election, the big contest. How do these players seem set for that fight?
See, first of all, I agree completely with what Neerja just said, every word of hers. So I won't like to repeat that. So what are the big takeaways then from this election? I think that despite everybody getting some kind of a consolation prize and BJP scoring a very decisive win, I think the biggest loser in this election is Congress Party. They have performed very dismally in a big state like Gujarat. They failed to recoup any lost ground in Delhi. In Himachal, thankfully, their both respect, prestige, and more than that has been saved, because after all, they have won an election which contributes 4 seats to the Lok Sabha. So one has to also see it in the parliamentary election perspective. 26 of Gujarat and 4 of Himachal and 7 of Delhi, where they don't seem to be making any headway. So the thing is that the Congress really has to do the most introspection. For the BJP, despite their huge win, the juggernaut no longer looks so invincible. It can be defeated. And like somebody said, and you can't compare apples and oranges, but out of 3, I think, Tamanna, you only mentioned in your introductory comments, out of 3, they actually lost out on 2, MCD and Himachal. So, and AAP just crawling and creeping up that space of becoming the challenger, especially in states where the Congress is in power, and especially in North India. They are still no factor in South. They are not a factor right now in West, in Maharashtra. But they're creeping up there, and like Neerja said, alarm bells must be ringing for some vis-a-vis a future date. But it has been really quite an anticlimactic election results in some ways, despite the huge win of BJP, despite this victory, and quite a decisive victory for the Congress party. Because what is the big message you draw out of it? Somebody has got something to feel happy about, and all party spokespersons can talk
Sanjeev,
down about.
I think you're missing the excitement that follows post a split verdict, where there's hours of confabulations of who will form the next government and who will be the kingmaker. Now all of that is missing today.
Because
So that's why you're saying anticlimactic.
Because what do you say, the prize has been, despite not being evenly distributed, gives the impression of being evenly distributed. One state to Congress, one to BJP, and one MCD to AAP party. But they are all different in sizes and their political clout. But
Absolutely.
definitely, there is some warning for the BJP as well. After all, the Prime Minister and the BJP apparatus, which could manage and perform so well in Gujarat, couldn't get their house together in the hill state, Himachal. There were rebels who took about 10% votes. Prime Minister
Do you look at it like that?
People don't withdraw.
Tejas, do you look at it like that? 1 minute. That point that Sanjeev made is very interesting. That if I look at the big takeaway, the BJP, of course, was going to win in Gujarat. And even in 2017, even though they crossed the halfway mark, everyone was saying, oh, you couldn't make 3 digits. It was almost as if, forming the government was not enough, because the standards have been set high for a party which has won so much. In that sense, even after 156 historic number of seats in Gujarat, you agree with Sanjeev's analysis that a bit of warning bells, you can be defeated in Himachal, you were defeated in local polls, where they fought very aggressively.
Local polls, I'm sorry, people obsess over MCD, but, half the country is not really, concerned about that. And the impact of it is really limited. In fact, AAP has lost a lot of its vote bank. It has, migrated backwards to the Congress there. So are we saying Congress is reviving now? So let's not get, carried away by a very small area. I think Himachal is very different from Gujarat. Himachal, as you said, that word, the R word, Rivaj, where you keep rotating, changing governments every 5 years. It certainly was one of the reasons. But of course, Sanjeev is correct that the BJP's house was not in order. What happened to that discipline we saw in Gujarat, where all these ministers who were dropped very quietly and in a disciplined manner? But why were there so many rebels? In fact, JP Nadda being from Himachal, it would be quite embarrassing that he could not really get his own home state, and that would be a remarkable feat given the Rivaj. And then you had also Mr. Thakur there, Anurag Thakur, who also had his interest. So I think there were several factors which were, pulling in different directions, and that's what really, got the rebels together. And that's, I think they lost because the margin is just of vote bank is just 1%. But I think the greater danger for the BJP really is, and this we have discussed several times, is the over dependence on Mr. Modi. I don't think there is any other factor which has really worked in Gujarat. It's not like Mr. Bhupendra Patel's government was phenomenal or something. I think it's just his charisma. I think that the pride he brings in the Gujaratis about leading the country is phenomenal, and he really put it forth once again that Aam Aadmi Party, his presence there was a reflection, was that Aam Aadmi Party was coming into the fray. He kept talking about the Revdi politics. So it's about a lot of pride that Gujaratis take in voting for him. And that's, I think, what's worked for him. I don't think it's really about governance per se. I mean, there could be a few things regarding GST, which I've heard traders there, which they're, happy about now. Some things have changed. But I think that over dependence on Mr. Modi, sometimes that really, I think if I was in the BJP, I would worry that, what would happen if some his stars didn't really shine on a particular period of time, and that would really hit the party, which probably can happen in many states. We are going to see Karnataka, for example. I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle for the BJP. So I think the BJP will have to. One thing, the good thing about BJP is there are many state leaders, unlike the Congress, which doesn't give them. Congress has the leaders, but they don't get any scope to work beyond what the head command, the head of headquarters really say.
Okay, Karnataka is the big next challenge. We're talking about Himachal Pradesh and the Rivaj, where the government changes every 5 years. If you look at it, Gujarat voting for the BJP is also a Rivaj, which they have stuck to. Amitabh, if I look at it that way, both states have continued with Rivaj, with their traditional voting patterns. It's just about margin of how much, isn't it? And in Himachal specifically, two points which may have hurt the BJP, and the reason I want to focus on it is because it underlines sometimes the price political parties have to pay to put through reforms they may believe in. The BJP not agreeing to bring the old pension system, which the Congress harped on, may have hurt them. The fury of Apple traders who have been resisting corporatization and privatization may have hurt them. Amitabh, some would argue that these are reforms.
So see, every election is different, and in a way, both Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh have continued with the Rivas, one of continuing with the government and one of overthrowing the government. Himachal is different because, as you mentioned, the Congress ran a very localized campaign. It focused on certain issues. One of it was the OPS and the solution for the apple growers or farmers. And the top leadership had the conviction that it could win in Himachal. That was clearly missing in Gujarat. That's why we saw none of the top leaders, including Rahul or Priyanka Gandhi, frequently coming to Gujarat to campaign for the elections. Now, what we are also seeing is that the Modi factor has worked in one state and it has not worked in another. While Gujarat is symbolically bigger, it has 26 seats in Lok Sabha and Himachal has only 4. Today, with the onset of the social and digital media and with the election season playing on traditional media on a regular basis, each election, I would say, even I would disagree with Tejasji here, even a municipal election where all the ministers and MPs are campaigning, when it is being fought on national issues, how does it become a local election? I mean, the people today are voting on in each election, be it local, state level, or national, seeing the same faces to campaign where the same issues are being raised. That is why even a victory for Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi municipal polls, optics-wise, is good news for the party. Now it remains to be seen how Aam Aadmi Party fares or how it shapes up its strategy in the next year in the upcoming elections in 9 states, because it has to pick and choose. As you said, it cannot spread itself very thin and commit the same errors it did in 2014 Lok Sabha elections. So now we'll have to see. And now with a newcomer or a new national party, what happens is that the BJP will have to now find out in each state who is the real competitor. And now we'll have to allocate resources to counter AAP, because AAP will continue to make a lot of noise. They have learned a lot of the tricks from the trade book of BJP. That is why today on TV channels and debates,
some would argue AAP's Gujarat campaign is more noise than performance. A day before the election results, they were saying we're going to sweep Gujarat.
No, but if people were believing that they were going to sweep Gujarat, then they of course would have been disappointed. The party has won 5 seats. It is runner-up in more than 2 dozen seats. It has reduced Congress from 77 to 16 seats. It is a phenomenal performance. It is a phenomenal performance. Most of the increase in tally of BJP, which we are witnessing, is due to the fact that AAP has taken away a sizable chunk of votes of the Congress and made it easier for the BJP.
Tejas wants to respond. to what you were saying. Yes, Tejas?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to back what he's saying, and I want to say I want to agree with what he's saying regarding MCD elections. I'm not saying it's the optics don't matter. I'm just saying let's not compare Gujarat with MCD. But yeah, optics do
Let's
matter.
be
It does
honest.
go.
Let's be honest about why MCD has come into the picture. Is because date-wise it was happening around the same time.
Correct,
So
correct.
exit polls clubbed all those results together. It was pretty much the same combination of three parties which were fighting in all the three elections. That's simply the reason why they're being clubbed in one space. You're absolutely right that in real terms, they all three are very, very different. Even in terms of size of the states, it's very, very different. So that point is taken, Tejas.
True, true. But this is also the Delhi phenomenon. If they were the three parties are fighting in the Bangalore municipality, we wouldn't be really so, so proximity really matters. But yes, let's move ahead to what I was just trying to make the next point. I think, yes, he's absolutely right. The biggest problem the AAP will face now is spreading itself thin, because even this election, the way they had to, run away from almost from Himachal to ensure that all their troops are on the ground in Gujarat, because that's where they felt they could really make a dent. I think that is what the Aam Aadmi Party will struggle, because even as they grow, they need to have people who can really ensure that that their leaders are capable enough. As far as the Congress is concerned, I think the biggest strategic error they made was not taking the Bharat Jodo Yatra to Gujarat. I think that was a big flaw, because they were hoping that let's do a silent micro home to home campaign on the ground in Gujarat. We will not have to spend too much. We will spend on the Bharat Jodo Yatra, and Rahul Gandhi will make an impact and dent in Narendra Modi's campaign. But that didn't really happen. And by the time they realized that the Aam Aadmi Party had encroached so much into their turf, it was too late. So I think Rahul Gandhi has to, you have to take the battle where it is. You can't be fighting from Karnataka in 19 days in Kerala. It doesn't work that way.
No, but let's look at it this way, Neerja ji, hasn't this proven that when the Gandhis gave up any claim to the president's position in the party, Mallikarjun Kharge has taken over. They are doing Bharat Jodo Yatra. They've barely campaigned, not at all in Gujarat, and maybe a little bit in Himachal. That the actual party machinery does not necessarily need the Gandhi's presence to push them to power. Hasn't Himachal proven that? Despite the near absence of the top leadership, they've managed pretty well.
Yeah, before I answer that, I'll make a quick point, if you'll allow me. On this MCD elections, it is true that local elections getting such a high profile. Of course, Bombay Municipal Corporation elections always do, because that's a cash cow. It has budget of a kind that medium-sized states have. But Delhi, the municipal corporation is important from the point of view of where Arvind Kejriwal, more than optics, where Arvind Kejriwal is positioning himself, hemmed in by MCD on one side and center on the other. He still managed, as the Chief Minister of Delhi, to navigate, and his Delhi model, Gujarat people said to me, आपको बिजली मिल रही है, आपको अच्छा स्कूल मिल रहा सरकारी और हॉस्पिटल, ये मोहल्ला क्लिनिक्स, तो हमको क्यों नहीं मिले ये गुजरात में? ये मॉडल उनका काम कर रहा है. तो I think given MCD, what is called the double engine, he will probably now go for showing results which strengthen his Delhi model. Cleaning up Delhi, dealing with pollution, dealing with chikungunya, dengue every year. I think that is the significance of MCD, what they are able to deliver at the ground level, if that happens. On the Congress thing, yes, in Gujarat, I would say, I will start by saying that if suppose in 2017, the Congress had won 99 seats and the BJP had won 77, hypothetically speaking, the BJP would have called a meeting of its top leaders within the hour, as Prime Minister did on December 5th, even before the voting was over in Gujarat, to take stock of the situation in preparation for 2024. Now that will to power, what I call the killer instinct, by the Congress, and it had 5 years to do that. They did not. And one found in Gujarat in the Congress ranks, barring a few candidates like Jignesh Mewani, there was fatigue. They had given up. National leaders had not come and campaigned for them. They felt abandoned. And that is a message that went to the voter also. The party itself doesn't think it's coming back to power. And of course, Arvind Kejriwal cut into their votes. And in the short run, Arvind Kejriwal is going to benefit the BJP, but may become a challenger in the long run. That is what the BJP, BJP own leadership, is very alert to that fact.
Sanjeev, if I look at this from the national perspective, because frankly, viewers from across the country, voters from across the country, when they look at these polls, they're trying to extrapolate to what it means nationally unless they're actually from those states. As of today, it seems we're going to see a redux of 2019 in 2024. Nothing really major will change. If Arvind Kejriwal is going to be a contender, it's way into the future. The Congress introspection is not ending only, so we don't know when it's going to start. Nothing is likely to change by 2024. Would that be a right takeaway?
I think you put it better than what I would have said. I would more or less agree. See, I have been saying that for the past few months that in 2024, there are three key states which will decide the outcome, whether 2024 will be any different from 2019. And those three states are West Bengal, Maharashtra, and Bihar. So those three states' polity remains largely unaffected by today's results. So there the opposition, if they can get their act together, may pose a serious challenge to the BJP. But again, like we saw in the Bihar by-elections, what happened in Gopalganj, BJP won by 2,000 votes, and Mayawati and Owaisi both got about 7,000, 8,000 votes each. So the BJP is very good at strategizing, even where they already know that they are on a weak wicket. They may be planning for these three states in their own way. But these will be the three crucial states. Today's results really, I don't think they have much of a bearing in terms of 2024, except for one fact that Kejriwal will now be, there will be a problem because of Kejriwal versus Congress party. The index of opposition unity is likely to suffer in some states. So that will be an issue, but the opposition will just have to learn to live with that, because that's a rivalry which is not ending soon. Kejriwal wants to take over the space where Congress is, and Congress so far has ceded space to them in three vital states: Delhi, now Gujarat, and in between Punjab. So that's the tricky thing. Otherwise, in large parts of West and South and East, AAP party is still a non-starter. But yes, it affects the index of opposition unity, which is a key factor when it comes to national elections. So that's my two-bit.
So interesting set of elections, interesting set of takeaways. And of course, elections are always fun to analyze the highs and lows of Indian politics. So thank you so much to all of you for joining us today. But I also want to focus on another very